You are Locked On Knicks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It was the final game before the All-Star break, and one that the Knicks and Hawks will not soon forget. This puppy needed overtime. In fact, Atlanta did not take their first lead until that extra session. They scored 6 points in 7 seconds to erase a deficit, get it to overtime, but the Knicks prevail. Final score, 149-148. A key shot late from Jalen Brunson. Some strong defense down the end to seal it. And again, the Knicks win it to wrap up the unofficial first half of the season. Again, 149-148, a huge win over the Hawks in front of the home folks. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad to have you aboard. Please follow me on X as well, at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The postcast, which is this, gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Another dynamic performance from the duo, the Knicks' 2 best players, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. They pumped in 79 combined points to lead the way. Trae Young was also amazing. No surprise there. He poured in a team-high 38 for Atlanta in the loss. And again, quite a way to go into the All-Star break. All right, all that coming up on the postcast, which of course is now underway. Also want to tell you your favorite podcast now has a newsletter introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. All right, as we said, the highest scoring game in the NBA this season, 149-148. They needed the extra session, one which featured the Hawks getting a lead for the first time in this game. As we said, we'll get to the end of regulation, but in overtime, the Hawks actually scored the first 5 points. The Knicks were in a 5-point overtime hole. The huge shot late from Jalen Brunson, some defense sprinkled in as well, and the Knicks emerged victorious. Now, as for the end of regulation, that's where things got funky. The Knicks had a 6-point lead with 10 seconds remaining. The Hawks scored 6 points in 7 seconds to tie the game. And believe it or not, we still had 2 and change left after those 7 seconds. The Knicks, playing in their 3rd overtime game of the season, have won all 3. They're a perfect 3-0 in the extra session. And again, as we said, the highest scoring game in the NBA this season. Atlanta had won 3 straight and 4 of 5, so their win streak is over. Trae Young in 3 games versus the Knicks coming into tonight averaged 24 points and 9 assists. Well, he certainly outdid himself tonight. As we said, 38 points. Get this, folks, 19 assists, 38 and 19. Now, he did miss 18 shots, but the Hawks were there shorthanded and certainly kept the Knicks and gave them everything they could handle. As for the Knicks, we told you about Karl Anthony Towns, who now has back-to-back 40-point games. Believe it or not, that has never happened in his career. He's been in the NBA 10 years now. He's in his 10th season. He has never registered back-to-back 40-plus point games until now. He scored 40 the other night. He scored 44 tonight, also grabbed 10 rebounds. Now does Cat, 41 double-doubles in 49 games. Remember, folks, the Knicks have played just 54. He's missed 5 of them. In 41 of the 49 he has played in, he's registered double-double tonight. More of the same. As we said, 44 and 10. Also had 3 assists and 2 steals 14 of 25 from the floor for Cat. 7 of 10 from three-point land. He was a force. Also hit 9 free throws, a season-high 11 free throw attempts for Towns tonight. So point being, he got to the line as well. As for Jalen Brunson, a quiet second half, good late fourth quarter, obviously good overtime. He finished with 36 on 13 of 21 shooting. He did hit 3 3-pointers, had 8 assists, 3 rebounds, and only 3 turnovers did Jalen Brunson. As for the rest of the starting lineup, Precious Achiuwa had 26, a Knick high for him in a Knick uniform. He was 12 of 16 from the floor. Very efficient stuff. In fact, he took a 3-pointer and missed it, so he was really 12 of 15 from 2 tonight. Everything in the paint for Precious, who was brilliant tonight. Also chipped in with 8 rebounds and 2 blocks. Josh Hart had 18 tonight on 5 of 13 shooting, 26 for Achiuwa, as we said. Mikal Bridges, another slow night for him, had just 11, 5 of 8 shooting, only took 8 shots tonight. But again, efficient stuff there. As for the bench, well, the Knicks got 35 from 3 guys last night. The bench combined to score 14 tonight. So obviously heading in, the bench was an issue. But when we tell you about all the minutes played tonight, that's where you'll figure it out that the bench wasn't going to score very much. Here are the minutes played for the Knicks starters. Precious played 42. Bridges played 43. Cat played 47 minutes. Remember, folks, 48 plus 5 is 53. So you could have played a total of 53. Towns played 47. He made them all count. 43 for Jalen Brunson, 46 for Josh Hart. So again, 3 Knicks, obviously counting OG, who was not there tonight, but 3 Knicks in the top 10 in minutes per game. That includes Mikal Bridges, number 1, Josh Hart, number 3. Bridges over 39 per game. Hart nearly 38 per game. OG also in the top 10, but has missed 5 games in a row. So again, all starters played more than 40 minutes. Impressive stuff and tiring stuff, to say the least. You could tell that there was some exasperation after this one. Jalen Brunson, in his post-game interview, basically threw up his hands and said, I don't know. Just thankful we got the win. Let's get to the All-Star game. And again, the All-Star break is here for every one of the Knicks, with the exception of Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, who now have to get on a plane and go to San Francisco. Remember, folks, they are both starters. The last time the Knicks had 2 All-Star game starters in the same season, 1975, Clyde and Earl the Pearl. 50 years since the Knicks have had 2 All-Star game starters. And again, it's not East versus West this year. In fact, who knows what the machinations are of the All-Star game festivities coming up. Regardless, Cat's going to start. Jalen Brunson's going to start. They're not on the same team. Who cares? Again, 50 years since we've last seen that. All right, 5 of 13 from the floor for Josh Hart, 5 of 8 for Mikal Bridges. And remember, this is a back-to-back situation for the Knicks, and they leaned on their 2 best players, Cat and JB, to get the job done. As we said, Brunson in 43 minutes on 13 of 21 shooting at 36 points, 8 assists. Josh Hart also with the double-double, had 18 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a block. As for Hart, make it 24 double-doubles now, still inside the top 10 for most double-doubles in the NBA this season. If you recall, and it bears repeating, we talked about it last night, we talk about it most nights, that Josh Hart in an entire season last year registered 21 double-doubles. He already has 24. Now, he has not played every game. He has missed 1 game. The Knicks have played 54. He's played 53. So nearly half of those games that Josh Hart has played in has resulted in a double-double. As for his shooting percentage, Josh Hart was 5 of 13, 0 for 3 from 3. So he was 5 of 10 from 2. below his season average from 2. And the reason we bring this up, not so much for repetition purposes, but because it's such a startling number. He's now shooting 67%, is Josh Hart, from 2-point land. 67% from 2-point land. And by the way, it doesn't take very many threes. In fact, just took 3 tonight. The Knicks were 30 of 37 from the line tonight, right around their season average, just over 81%. All 5 Knicks starters, except for Mikal Bridges, are over 80% from the line. Bridges at 76% for the line. He didn't shoot a free throw tonight. All right, only 8 players in the league have started every game. We saw 2 of them last night, Mikal Bridges and Pascal Siakam, who obviously plays for Indiana. Bridges, once again, has not missed a game his entire NBA career, and he continues to be one of 8 players this year that has played in every one of his team's games. Again, the Knicks had a 6-point lead with 10 seconds remaining, fumbled a bit. They allowed the Hawks to score 6 points in 7 seconds. You can thank Trae Young for that. And then in overtime, the Hawks scored the first 5. So believe it or not, the Hawks scored the final 6 points of regulation to tie the game, send it into overtime. They scored the first 5 points of overtime. An 11-0 run between the end of regulation and the beginning of overtime really had the Knicks on their heels, but they turned to the captain, and the captain was great, hitting that awesome shot late. And now because of it, the Knicks have 36 wins, which, believe it or not, the Knicks have the 3rd most wins before the All-Star break of any team in franchise history. 36 wins at the All-Star break, has only been beaten by 2 Knick teams. So it's been a while, nearly 30 years since they got to 35 plus wins at the All-Star break. The Knicks have won 9 of 11. Obviously, those 2 losses, the Saturday night losses. 2 Saturdays ago to LeBron and the Lakers. This past Saturday, of course, to Jason Tatum and the Celtics. Other than that, the Knicks have been pretty good. Again, they've won 9 of 11. Of course, no OG tonight once again. The Knicks, in the games that he's played in since the trade, we've told you many times, 52-20. The Knicks are now 17-15 without OG. So they've crept above 500. He again missed his 5th straight game with a bad right foot. We'll also get an update on Mitchell Robinson, who, of course, continues to practice, looking towards some 5-on-5 contact as well. All right, we'll take our first quick break of the postcast. When we come back, we'll do the standings and the schedule, and obviously get an update on Mitch Robinson and one other injury update to tell you about. You may not have noticed because he played tonight, but he left as well. We'll tell you who that is coming up. After the holiday hustle, there's nothing like giving your home a little TLC. I always find that decluttering and refreshing my space helps me get back into a routine. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look to start the year, Wayfair has everything you need, all within your budget. I'm currently looking for furniture, and their huge selection makes it easy to find pieces that fit my style and my budget. My favorite part? Well, the free and hassle-free delivery, even for the larger items. Wayfair's site was so easy to navigate, and I found everything I needed in no time. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or your budget. Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. All right, we are back. Segment number 2 of the show. Knicks faced the Hawks at the Garden in their final game before the All-Star break, and they won. At one point in regulation, the Knicks actually led by 18. You figured this was going to be a laugher. But Trae Young would not allow his team to quit. So kudos, despite the poor shooting. And by the way, The Hawks threw up 110 shots tonight, made 55 of them, exactly 50%. And considering some of those numbers, that's pretty good. As we said, Trae Young, a chucker, 11 of 26. 11 of 29 from the floor tonight. Now, the Knicks have given up at least 100 points in 21 of their last 23 games. We told you the defense has not been a strong point, certainly not tonight either. The Knicks, as we said, allowed the Hawks to score 6 points in the last 7 seconds of regulation. Again, a 6-0 run to finish, a 5-0 run then to start overtime. It was a 11-0 run by the Hawks, and they didn't win. The Knicks, believe it or not, at one point trailed by 5 to start overtime. You figured this was going to be the collapse of collapses, but the Knicks hung on. Now, as for the assist numbers, not great. Nothing to write home about. They did not reach our benchmark of 30-plus assists. When they do, the Knicks have registered 30-plus assists in a game 22 times. They're 20-2. Tonight, they did win, but they did not dish out 30 assists. They did not get to that number. In fact, the assist to turnover numbers tonight, not that good. 28 assists, and that's with overtime, folks, to 17 turnovers. In fact, Karl Anthony Towns had quite an evening. We told you about 44 and 10. He also had 7 turnovers. The only player with more turnovers tonight, Trae Young, who was everywhere all at the same time. He had 8 turnovers, and again, 7 for Karl Anthony Towns. Foul trouble again. Josh Hart registered a 5th foul. That was in overtime, so he certainly wasn't coming out with roughly 2.5 minutes to play there. However, considering the foul troubles the night before, specifically for Jalen Brunson, a little bit more manageable tonight. Brunson did have 3 fouls. Plus minus. Brunson, believe it or not, was a -11, the worst of any Knick player tonight. And the Knicks really went with, we'll call it an 8-man rotation. Ariel Hook-Porty got 2 quick early minutes, but it was really Cam Payne, Landry Shamet, and Deuce McBride. And here's the point on Deuce. Deuce is your one that left with an injury. He had a rib contusion, played. In fact, Deuce played 8 minutes tonight, took 1 shot, did not score, and then left and did not return. So we'll have to keep our eyes on the status of Deuce McBride moving forward. Again, rib contusion on the right side, obviously aggravated it tonight in his 8 minutes of play. So it really was a 7-man rotation as the Knicks shrunk the bench tonight. Cam Payne and Landry Shamet with important minutes. Shamet played 18. Cam Payne played 15 and scored 10 points. Cam Payne was clutch down the stretch, was a +5 in the plus minus as well. As for Mitchell Robinson, we gave you the update on Deuce. Mitchell Robinson still has no timetable for his return from that left ankle surgery. However, we told you yesterday he met the media. He met the media with his shirt off. Point being, looked very slim, very fit, lost a lot of weight in a good way. And though he was cleared for contact this past week, still nothing yet 5-on-5. Hopefully that comes at some point over the All-Star break. But again, the Knicks will now get a chance to rest, lick their wounds. They don't play again until Thursday, February 20th, and they'll do so against the Bulls at home. All right, as we said, Karl Anthony Towns, back-to-back 40-point games for the first time in his career. And he had 2 separate runs tonight that made you think it could be a very special night for him, and it could be a laugher. He scored 15 consecutive Knicks points in the second quarter. That helped the Knicks jump out to a double-digit lead. Believe it or not, he wasn't done there. In the third quarter, Towns scored 12 consecutive Knicks points. So he had 2 separate runs, a 15-point run and a 12-point run, both helping the Knicks build an 18-point edge over the Hawks. The Knicks outscored Atlanta 38-29 in the first, and as we said, took a huge lead into the third quarter. But the Hawks late third, early fourth, the Hawks late fourth, early overtime really took over. It's amazing the Knicks were able to get out of Dodge. The Knicks are now 36-18. They're 19-10 at home. The Hawks right there, very much alive in the Eastern Conference. They're 26-29, 14-17 away, and obviously dealing with injury concerns. They made some trades. Really an interesting dynamic between Trae Young and Dyson Daniels, the future of Atlanta. Daniels had 23 points on 10 of 15 shooting. Again, quite a bench performance, quite a disparity in the bench performance between Atlanta and the Knicks. As we told you, Cam Payne and Landry Shamet, the only two bench players to score for the Knicks tonight. 10 for Payne, 4 for Shamet. As for the Hawks bench, Georges Niang had 21. Karis LeVert, old friend from the Nets, had 20. They pumped in 48 bench points to just 14. So it's nothing new because the Knicks have the lowest scoring bench in the NBA at nearly 21 per game. They got less than that tonight. The Hawks certainly got more. But again, the Hawks didn't have 5 guys play over 40 minutes tonight. 44 minutes for Trae Young, one of just 2 starters in the Atlanta lineup to play at least 40 minutes. So that'll give you an idea of why the bench numbers are so skewed here. Karis LeVert played 35 minutes off the bench. Georges Niang played 34. So big numbers off the bench. And again, the Hawks had 2 20-plus point performers off the bench tonight. All right, we'll take our final break of the show. When we come back, we got to do the schedule, we got to do the standings, and of course, we'll set you up for the All-Star break, which is officially here. Running a small business means you're wearing a lot of hats. Your personal phone becomes your business phone, and before you know it, you're juggling customer calls day and night. As your team grows, it becomes impossible to manage everything with just your personal number. That's where Open Phone comes in. It's the #1 business phone system designed to help you keep your work and personal life completely separate. For just $15 a month, the cost of a few coffees, you get complete transparency and visibility into everything happening with your business phone number. Open Phone works through an app on your phone or computer and integrates with tools like HubSpot and hundreds of others. It also uses AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, so you'll have a rundown of your calls and action items the second you hang up. And if you miss a call, no problem. Automated messages are sent directly to your customer, ensuring you never miss an opportunity to engage. Right now, Open Phone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's openphone.com/LockedOnNBA for 20% off 6 months. Openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. All right, final segment of the show. Again, the Knicks beat the Hawks in what was a memorable game, a final game before the All-Star break, 149-148 in overtime. The combination of Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, well, they pumped in, amazingly, 80 tonight. 80 points. 44 for Karl Anthony Towns, 36 for Jalen Brunson. Despite all that, the Knicks actually trailed in overtime by 5. Remember, folks, end of regulation, the Knicks had a 6-point lead with 10 seconds remaining. Atlanta scores 6 points in 7 seconds. Amazing stuff. There was still 3 seconds left in regulation with the game tied. Obviously, nothing got done there. Then into overtime, the Hawks took their first lead of the game and scored the first 5 points of overtime. So believe it or not, the Knicks had to come from behind in the extra session to pull off the victory. All right. As for the standings, the Knicks, as we said, are now 36-18. They pick up, or pardon me, they stay even with the Celtics. Celtics won tonight. The Celtics beat the Spurs at home 116-103. So the Knicks do not pick up any ground on the Celtics. They continue to lead the Pacers by 5, and they are 3 behind the Celtics. As for the schedule, now the Knicks get off 8 days, or at least everybody except for Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. The next Knicks game is against the Bulls at the Garden, February 20th. So a week from Thursday, a week from tomorrow, the Knicks will be back in action. Now, no rest for the weary. They will take their break, lick their wounds, and rest up. Then right back at it. 3 games and 4 nights, including back-to-back with travel. Chicago to open up the schedule on Thursday. Friday, they'll be in Cleveland the very next night. Off Saturday, then Sunday in Boston for a 1 Eastern time game, a matinee affair at Boston Garden. Again, that's on Sunday. So again, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Chicago, Cleveland, Boston, with travel in between. It will not be easy for the Knicks as we climb into the unofficial second half. And remember, folks, this is just the 3rd time the Knicks have had at least 36 wins at the All-Star break. 3rd most wins before the All-Star break for the Knicks. Really excellent stuff. All right, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage, delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Also want to mention our partners in crime, the All-Stars, Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf. They handle all the stuff at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. As we said, a 149-148 win in overtime means the Knicks are 36-18 at the break, 19-10 at home. And again, that's exactly where they'll begin the second half against the Bulls a week from tomorrow. We will certainly be with you for those games immediately following. Again, Bulls on Thursday, in Cleveland on Friday, in Boston on Sunday. 3 games and 4 nights right out of the break. So it should be a very difficult but interesting task ahead for the Knicks. Again, 80 combined between Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson tonight. Brunson hits the big shot late. Despite the blown lead late, the Knicks do prevail, win at 149-148. And again, we will see you after the Bulls next Thursday. Good night, everyone.